When will you actually be able to go into a hospital or doctor's office and say, I have coronavirus, I want treatment? That's something that people get on all kinds of difficult diseases. Obviously, we're not there with something so new, novel, and mutated, but the race is on to develop COVID-19 treatments. UCLA Medical Center is now testing, get this, 4 new drugs. Take a look at this new reporting from KNBC.
Researchers at UCLA are beginning to test 4 more drugs that could fight COVID-19. Approval for these tests can often take years, but it's happened in just weeks.
I've never seen this in my career.
Dr. Otto Yang, a veteran HIV researcher at UCLA Medical Center, is helping oversee the new drug trials.
Everybody feels like they have a fire lit under them to get things moving as quickly as possible.
Yang tells the I-Team that he and others are optimistic about a drug called Leronlimab. Already in trials for HIV and breast cancer, it's now being given on an emergency basis to 30 people with COVID-19 and appears to stop the virus from attacking the lungs.
A few patients have gotten it, and it looks exciting, and we are trying it here at UCLA.
Of the nearly 9,000 COVID-19 cases in LA County, just a tiny fraction might qualify to be in a drug trial.
We're starting, obviously, with the most sick patients because they have the most to lose up front, but hopefully trials that are in place will start to tease out.
Dr. Yang has been on the forefront of finding treatments for HIV, which took years. He's hoping COVID-19 will be different.
I'm hoping that, the scientific advances that have come since then will move us much more quickly towards effective treatment.
You see, Dr. Otto Yang there is in the center of leading this all-important battle. He's an infectious disease researcher, professor of medicine at UCLA's Geffen School, and is our special guest live right now. Thank you so much for making the time.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Doctor, before we get to how this all works, let's talk big picture. If one of these drugs, treatments actually worked, is this the kind of thing that could save lives? We've seen tens of thousands already die here in the U.S.
That's obviously our goal, is to come up with something that can reduce mortality as quickly as possible. Yes.
So that's potentially great. Everyone would obviously be very interested in that. Walk us through how, in the middle of all this, you are working at such a quick pace to still do something that is fully medically rigorous.
Right. So I really have to give a lot of praise and thanks to a huge team that's working to support getting all these studies working. And so, normally research studies like this will take months to set up because of all the logistics and agreements that have to take place. And here at UCLA, the administration has been rushing things through within weeks or even days to get these studies started. So there's a tremendous effort of a large team of people here to get these studies set up.
And so how does that work? You say something that normally takes months here is in a matter of weeks. What are you doing to test this out? When do you get results?
Well, it depends on the study. So we have multiple studies going on, actually more than 4. And there are studies that have been going now for a few weeks, and there are studies that have started today. We hope that most of these will yield results within short order, within a few months. It really depends on how big the study is. Most of these, we are one site of many. And so how quickly results come through will depend on how quickly we get patients and how strong the effects that we see are.
Why would patients agree to do something like this?
Right. So there are 2 main motivations. So, of course, patients who are desperately ill are looking for something that might help them, and that is really certainly an important motivator to be in studies. The other, I think, that patients need to really, and their families need to really keep in mind, is that these are all experiments, right? So these are things that we have no idea if they'll work. We have a scientific guess that they could work. In the end, probably most of them will not. And so they need to understand that when they participate in a study, they are also participating in furthering science and helping other patients as well by giving us answers. So, if you're in a placebo-controlled study where there's a chance you'll get drug versus a chance that you'll get placebo, I hope that's not discouraging, because really it's testing something, an unknown. And the information we get from that is really crucial for moving the effort forward.
Right. You're speaking about the difference between the scientific benefits and the individual benefits. Presumably someone who's in the former situation you detailed, being desperately ill, they don't want the placebo, right? They want to try whatever it is that you're cooking up.
Right. I don't see these two as being mutually exclusive, right? Because when we're trying something new, there's also a chance that it actually hurts in addition to helping. So pretty much you should consider it neutral, right? So neutral in terms of benefit and in terms of risk. And so it's a matter of maybe if you get a benefit from it, that's definitely icing on the cake, but it's definitely important for us to work out which of these treatments are effective. So we want both, of course. We want patients to benefit, but we don't know, and that's why these trials are being run. If we had any inkling that these things were actually truly effective, there would be no study because we would be using them.
Sure, right. They'd already be out in action. Final question. Based on the way this works, do you think there's a higher probability that researchers like yourself somewhere in the world will find a treatment before we find a fully functioning vaccine?
I think there's a good chance that we will, because there are so many different trials coming through. And even here at UCLA, we're getting daily requests from companies to try different things. So there's a big diversity of agents out there, and I'm hoping that at least one of them is going to be a hit.
Copy. Are you working around the clock, or are you getting enough sleep, Dr. Yang?
I'm working a lot, but definitely still sleeping. And this is it's a very scary time. It's a challenging time, but it's also an exciting time in terms of having more scientific tools and more information about this virus available than any other time in history for any other virus. So I'm optimistic, and definitely excited about the prospects of coming up with something useful.
Well, that's a great lens for you to share with us, and as a note to end on, that you view this, notwithstanding what everyone's going through, as an opportunity, which is a reminder of how science and medicine obviously can often be an opportunity for us to deal with things. So we appreciate not only you spending time with us, but I imagine a lot of people appreciate what you mentioned, that researchers not only like yourself, but your whole team are doing this work right now to see what we can learn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.